Anyway, the idea behind my talk is looking at ahimsa, which is about my name, and compassion, and some views about, some ramblings really, about the views and ideas that I might have, and the startings of some correcting of some misunderstandings. Yeah, I guess I feel that probably all of us have the possibility that our views and ideas sometimes mean that we misunderstand messages that are being given by the Dharma and Dharma friends, and that we need to be probably ready to review ideas that we've got about all sorts of things. And today I'm talking about my experience with the idea of compassion. So first of all, the name. I was given this name, Ahimsadhi, when I was ordained in April, 5 minutes ago. Whoever said that. And it's interesting because ahimsa is a not name. Ahimsa is, like, A is the negative of himsa, which is harm and violence. So it's non-harm and non-violence. And I've been finding it pretty tricky to know how to deal with a not name. So, you know, it's generally, when you start talking about it with anybody, pretty quickly, compassion comes up as the underlying energy behind it. And so, you know, ahimsa is seen to be an attitude of kindness and empathy and compassion with all life. But I've sort of found myself thinking, well, if that's the case, why did you call me a not name, like a ahimsa, rather than metta or maitri or something, you know, something that's a little bit more easy to go ahead with. Plus I've never heard of any other ahimsas, so it has been something that I've been thinking about quite a lot. So I've been wondering about whether people are seeing something in me that I don't see in myself. It's not that I'm not a kind person or try to be a kind person, but I don't think of myself as a kind person. And I'm wondering if my views are reflective of perhaps past conditioning, rather than more widely shared views that other people have. And I'm wondering if I'm willing to review my preconceptions of myself. And, you know, that idea of looking inside myself to see what others see, or is it just something I need to get on with and not talk about too much? Anyway, so it has, just thinking about my name has opened a lot up. But then the second thing I want to refer to is my relationship with Green Tara. Because when I was ordained, I took on the sadhana of Green Tara. And you might think, well, what's this girl talking about in relation to compassion? Because, you know, lots of us might know, and some might not, that Green Tara is a bodhisattva of compassion, and that she was born or emerged from the tears of Avalokiteshvara over the suffering that he observed over eons and eons of life. Well, it's interesting. Green Tara was suggested to me actually on my ordination retreat. I hadn't gone thinking that I would be a Green Tara girl. And perhaps that's because I didn't think of myself as a compassion type. And I'd never really focused on Green Tara before. In fact, you know, I knew the story. We all read the stories in Meeting the Buddhas. And I thought, I really liked the idea of a female bodhisattva, but it just hadn't really got on my radar at all. And I must say that I am eternally grateful to Shiva Vyuha, who's my preceptor, for suggesting Green Tara for me, because it has been a life-changing, not realisation, but experience of coming to even in the 5 minutes that I've had so far, coming to know her a lot better. And, you know, I do feel that it has had a heart-opening impact on me. So the features of Green Tara that I particularly like include her standing for fearlessness, and her generosity in giving. But also, I mean, you know, I'm doing every arm and leg here, but also I really do appreciate the balancing of meditation and wisdom with action. I tend to be a bit of an action person myself, and I have struggled over the years with that balancing of thinking about what's for the best before I get in there. So that's something that I'm really focusing on. Yeah, just focusing on really. So just in case you don't know that much about Green Tara, Vasantra describes Tara as enlightenment stepping down to us and reaching out a hand to lift us up. What a lovely thought. And Tara is easily approachable and fathomless and familiar beyond understanding. And she's so quick to help. And she's one of the most popular bodhisattvas, and I'm seeing quite why. So the other thing I like about Green Tara is it said she offers a quick way to wisdom. And don't we all want the quick way? And I find that really attractive. But as I've been finding out, compassion is at the heart of that quick way to wisdom. So again, it's sort of driving my review, I guess, of what I'm thinking about compassion. So the views that I need to look at. As I said, I've tended not to think of myself as a very particularly compassionate person. And perhaps it sounds really simplistic, I'm open for you saying that, but I'm not really likely to have been the person who picks up the stranded insect in the shrine room, or who's been unable to watch the news because of what's on it, or feel emotion over beauty, or be easily brought to tears. It's just not me. Rather, I've tended to think of myself as a fairly practical person, a little bit persistent, a little bit less emotional, and a get on with it type. So I guess a bit of a thinker rather than a feeler. That's what I thought. Even as I say that, I'm a little bit embarrassed about the banality of that, but truly, I have to admit that that's what I have thought of myself. In preparing this talk, I Googled images of compassion. And you know, again, I feel a bit embarrassed to say, I was a little bit surprised that what came up was not lots of purple satin, and not lots of images of Jesus with lambs, or lots of tears. And it really sort of surprised me because it was quite normal images of people there. And it just made me realise that perhaps I have a lot of wrong views. So I'm coming to the conclusion that I really need to revisit, you know, what I'm thinking of myself and of others, and you know, that question of am I willing to give up these stereotypes that I've got, or at least broaden them out? And you know, I think I am. Now I'm finding out about them. Recently, I've been on a retreat, a women's GFR retreat. I was doing the supporting role, so it wasn't it wasn't the sort of retreat because I was going out shopping and doing all of the stuff that I love to do. And you know, the essence of bodhicitta and the bodhisattva ideal is, you know, a lot of compassion and full-heartedness associated with aspiring to be a force in the world that contributes to the alleviation of everybody's suffering and contributes to enable people to become enlightened. In fact, that's the true aspiration of Triratna. the bodhisattva ideal will come into existence, and that as an order we'll work towards that. And it's not that I don't have that aspiration and hope, but perhaps it's the heart fullness that I feel a little bit tricky with. One of the things that I spoke about, one of the things that spoke to me most in that context of the discussion out there and everything was this importance of being less selfish, of putting myself into situations where I can contribute to enabling access to the Dharma, and of prioritising things to happen when they might not otherwise have happened. And again, I can feel as I say those, there's the doing aspect, the enabling aspect, rather than necessarily a heart-driven aspect that I really am beginning to notice. But also, I'm increasingly aware of the value of getting out of my own mind and all its thinking and planning and working things out, because I'm pretty good focusing on that, towards a way of being that I'm more aware of feeling what's going on. Feeling in respect to what's going on in my body, which I can be very dismissive of, but also my heart mind. So opening to the possibility of accepting the value of and looking for evidence of my feeling with both heart and mind. So the last little bit is about a process, I guess. And I guess I am in a process of, well, I think we probably all are, as we sit here in a Buddhist centre, in a process of evolving ourselves in the way that each of us might struggle with, or at least be finding out about and working with in their lives. Recently, I read in a book called Stepping Out of Self-Deception, page 169, Arya Dharma. We studied on a Tuesday. The qualities of the heart are discovered within selflessness, and in brackets, love, compassion, patience, generosity, caring, and kindness. These attributes appear naturally as the mind releases control and stops trying to force their appearance. In the purest sense, these are not man-made traits that can be cultivated and nurtured, but arise as expressions of awareness itself, and therefore have no opposites. From this perspective, kindness is not the opposite of cruelty, which sort of brings me back to ahimsa and that idea that I might have started out with a polarization of ahimsa and himsa. And actually, that little reading really has brought out to me that ahimsa might be more of a quality of heart-mind, and I don't know, something that's more coming from the heart and not a matter of opposites, as I might have been thinking. So I find that really helpful, because it does relieve me a lot of the ideas and thoughts that I had around my mind. So my process is currently about reviewing the stereotypes that I've brought to issues like compassion. And I'll need to overcome some of my deeply conditioned, preconceived ideas and how things are going, and to remind myself that the typecasting of myself, and possibly even others, is not helpful, and to actively seek out aspects of heart-mind that I've tended to ignore. So, as we tend to move into a little bit of short discussion, I guess a couple of things that I've thought about might be worth pondering on as in group were, I wonder if you're aware of any qualities or aspirations that you might have that are unhelpful ideas around, what you feel might contribute to your positive evolution. Could be faith, could be surrender, could be commitment. For mine, it's been compassion. And, I admit that Everybody's got something, but who knows what that is. Or perhaps, are there any preconceived ideas that you might have about compassion and about compassionate people? And, you know, I'm interested in that in particular because, as you can hear, I'm delving deeply into this subject. So I am really interested to hear what other people might have going for themselves. Thank you.